What are 3 things a makeup artist should look at if they're wanting more work? We're back with award-winning makeup artist Deborah Rutherford as she shares some tips for aspiring makeup artists. She also talks about the show that won her an Emmy Award and her strong desire to work on projects with hope and redemption.
This is the Faith and Family Filmmakers Podcast, helping filmmakers who share a Christian worldview stay in touch, informed, and inspired. Quiet on set. Rolling. Your hosts, Geoffrey and Jaclyn Whitt.
Hey, it's Jaclyn. You're listening to the Faith and Family Filmmakers Podcast. I have Jeff with me, and today we have Deborah Rutherford, a makeup artist, and we've already spoken with her in the first part of the interview, and now in the members-only portion, we want to get into some deeper details. So, Deborah, can you share with us maybe some unique experiences or some of the differences between working on a larger set versus an independent film set?
Well, on the faith-based movie, Southern Gospel, it was they call it lower tier, still a union film, but it's lower tier, which means lower budget. So often when you work on those, and we wanted to work on it because it's a great story, good cast and everything, but it's always the worry of, do we have enough money to make it look good? Do we have enough time with what they want? Because even if something's lower budget, it's just, your work ethic, you want to do the best job that you can. The main difference for me between the two is your manpower is one of them. So on an independent film, kind of run around doing everything, right? And often you just don't have the people that you need. So you just try to figure out ways, how are we going to get all those people powdered?
Right.
And thank goodness we've always had wonderful people that will come work with us and help us out. And for spending money on things, one way that I've always gotten by that is I have relationships with a lot of the makeup companies. So as soon as I'm doing a film, I send them an email. And I'm not shy about it at all. Like, this is my wish list.
Oh, wow.
And I'll put down everything I want on that wish list.
Oh, wow.
And I'll even say, I'm sorry if it's obnoxious, And if I'm working on something where we really don't have the budget, I'll even say that. And I'll try to get them a credit because sometimes they'll give them a credit. But over the years, that's built a relationship. And so that helps supplement at least the beauty part of it,
Mm-hmm.
And then you just learn to make a lot of things yourself, that sort of thing. But that's probably the main difference there. So when we recently watched, my husband and I recently watched Southern Gospel, there was a moment of nervousness, like, is it going to look good? Because we had to make the beard, we had to make the mustache, we had to make the prosthetics. But it looked really good. I was like, we're like sitting there going, honey, we did a really good job.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
We're the first if it doesn't look good.
Right, yeah.
But often you can say you're working on a really high budget movie. Sometimes they'll just want to throw something in, or what they had planned and you had prepped and made isn't now working. And so you have to go back to that thinking out of the box, that kind of old school, like it's still very skilled. And that's where the skill comes in. Like the more hours that you've done this, the more shows you've been on, the more movies you've been on, you can bring that to the table. And that something in my earlier career I really was aware of. I was like, okay, I'm doing too many beauty shows. They're never going to let me touch a prosthetic. So then I would not take the beauty shows, which maybe I would get more money, and I would take special effects show.
But it's like a career choice so that you don't get typecast?
For me, it was just so I could be well-rounded, because we had these dear friends of ours that told us in the beginning, you don't want to specialize right now. You want to be handy. You want to be the person that if your actress needs to look pretty, you make her pretty. If she needs a bruise, you put that bruise on her. If she needs a burn, you put that burn on her. If your male actor shaved his beard off and wasn't supposed to, and now you need to put it on, you want to be able to do that, And so we were told right in the beginning by this lovely couple, Kenny and Karen Myers. And basically they said, if you want to buy a house, you have to learn how to do all of that. And so part of learning how to do all that, you can practice for hours on your own, but then when you get on a show, and we call it background makeup, you get on a show doing background makeup for days, you're doing a Western, you're going to come out of that really knowing how to do some good beard work, right? Or you get on a show, now you're doing zombies. Well, you're going to come out of that knowing how to do really good zombies. Or you're on a show doing, 1920s beauty makeup. So you kind of want to, I think, spread it around so that you get well trained in all those areas. Because if you don't, and what I see happen a lot, you'll get pigeonholed into one area. Now, it does happen if you're a female. Sometimes you might not be their first choice for special effects. Or if you're a male, you may not be their first choice for beauty makeup. Only because people have sometimes perceived ideas of what should be, although in early makeup in Hollywood, it was all males. There was all those beautiful starlet makeups were all done by men. It was just how it was back then. I think females only did hair, but it doesn't mean you can't do it.
Right.
Back to the earlier interview when we talked about when Dick Smith told me what I was up against. As long as then you can work around that. Don't be offended. Just understand that it could exist and then just make yourself valuable with your skill level. Yeah. Sometimes people will call me and say, I can't get hired. And I will say, it's usually 3 things. Your attitude. You need an attitude adjustment. Is your attitude chasing people away? Your skill level. Do you need to add some more skills to the toolbox? Is your equipment not clean? Have you taken any of the new classes? Your skill level. Like you need to up that maybe. Is it your network? Like, did the people you used to work for, are they still department heads? Did they leave to go be a personal makeup artist? Now they can't hire you. Did they leave to get married and have a baby and now they can't? They're just not around to hire you anymore. Like, is it your network? Did you move? And so if it's your network, then you need to start planting seeds. And it takes a really long time. It takes a long time to plant seeds, but start planting them. I remember this one makeup artist who I would call once a year and ask him if I could work for him and send him my resume. And he'd say, I already have my team. And I'd say, that's great. I just wanted to reach out to you and get to know you. And so about after 5 years, he really felt like we knew each other.
Yeah. Oh, you've had so many encounters already. You've spoken several times.
One time he did ask, he finally called and offered me a job, but I was already working. And then it was like, well, I'll offer you 3. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't leave the job I'm on, But
you had your chance.
It was funny. It just never ended up actually working for the person, but we did become associates that way.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, so I have a question actually. I really value what you've been saying, like for helping makeup artists to understand, how to develop themselves and how to develop their career. But can we speak to some other people that you're involved with, like for people that interact with makeup artists? What are some things that would be valuable for them to know, whether they're actors or crew or directors or, so on? What are some things that if they understood this would really help things?
I think part of it is to know that makeup really is just to enhance the story, to help tell the story. It's not anything besides that. So it's just like the wardrobe. It's just like the hair. So when working with each other, it's a collaborative effort. Now, not every makeup artist is the same. Sometimes an actor or a hairstylist will bring their ideas in and they won't be received well. But I personally think that it should be a collaborative effort and that they should bring their ideas, bring their pictures. If I'm working with an actress, tell me what you think your favorite lip color is, what you like to use on your face. And my job is, when it doesn't look good, to tell you.
Right.
But most of the time they do a great job. And I learn so much from the people around me. So I think that's a big one, is just to come from it as a collaborative thing, not as you're in that department, I'm in this department, because it can get really, you still have to have those boundaries, Yeah,
at the end of the day, there's certain people have a certain role. And so they're the ones that have the jurisdiction, you could say. Like, it's their place to make those final calls. Yeah.
And also, like, you can't touch somebody else's job. Like if the actress wants to hand you her coat, you have to get her wardrobe person.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, so I guess like what you were saying about working on an independent film, that might be a little bit less.
No. You don't cross departments. I think even on, regardless of the budget, people are very into their craft, most people. And so it's just their equipment, their jurisdiction. They know they're responsible for it. So regardless of the budget, if I'm a makeup artist, I do not touch hair. I mean, unless they ask me and to say, really, you're in there already. But that's very rare, very rare. If the props is there, I don't touch their stuff, because they have to know where it's been.
Yeah, they have to count for everything.
Yeah, and one thing about with COVID, when we went back to work after that, and it was actually the Southern Gospel movie, and it was really difficult because, everybody was so strict about everything. But in a sense, some of that made sense, like not to touch each other's stuff, that sort of thing.
So what I'm hearing is, things that people can know definitely is to feel free to bring ideas, but at the same time, test to see if this is somebody who is happy to hear your ideas, because not
Yes.
everybody wants them. Okay.
Yep.
To recognize that it's a collaborative effort, but at the same time, everybody has their own roles and no crossing those boundaries.
Right.
What about preparation? Say, for example, actors. Is it best for them to come to set with a clean face, or like if they already have makeup on, just leave it on? Or what is the best thing if you have an actor arrive and you're like, yes, you're ready? Like, what does that look like?
Usually the night before, the AD will send out an email to them or a text. I'm not sure how they do it these days, with any makeup notes. So if a male needs to be clean shaven, it'll say that in the notes. Please come clean shaven. Now, if you're an actor or a stunt man, you can choose, no, I'm going to have them do it. You can do that, and you're right to do that. But it does help with time and stuff like that. Now, if it's a period piece, then the makeup artist will have to usually do at least the lead actor, in the stunts. If you're doing background makeup, though, you always come, as the notes say. If everyone's supposed to be clean shaven and then some people show up with beards on, you don't have the time for it, And so then you send them away to do it themselves and they come back with, nicks.
Yeah.
There's really no facility to do it properly. So pay attention to the notes is very important. We'll separate them. So actor stunts, if it says to come, you come with a clean face. You've removed any makeup from the night before, so you come with a clean face, but you don't put anything on it. If you have your own moisturizer, you could put on a light moisturizer, but you don't put oil on your face, because now makeup artists won't be able to get makeup to stick to it. So there's that difference between the actors, the stunts, and then you get to the background actors and sometimes the guest stars, but they come as the notes say. So say if it's a period movie, the period movie will usually tell them to put on a foundation and maybe mascara, but then they come and there's background makeup artists to put on the specialty colors, because you didn't have glitter in those days. Tell them how to do their nails. You cannot wear acrylic nails, that sort of thing. So the most important thing is to read your notes that you receive from the AD as far as how to come for makeup.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, good to know. Okay, I know you've mentioned a few of the projects that you've worked on, Hunger Games, Marvel, and so on, Planet of the Apes. But you've actually won an award. Can you tell me about that?
I won an Emmy Award for the film Behind the Candelabra. And it was a little bit lower budget than a regular film, but everyone but me knew it was going to win in all the categories. So you had like just the top of each craft in there, the top costumer, the top sound person, the top, so it was just a really enjoyable show where everyone's doing their very best job down to every detail, like really wonderful pleasure to work on craft-wise.
That's fantastic. Well, congratulations for that. And you mentioned that most of your career you've worked on secular film sets, but you've expressed an interest and a desire to work more with, on faith-based sets and projects. And so I would like to ask you to share your contact information or however you would like people to contact you for people that are looking for a makeup artist for their project.
Yes. Okay. If you are looking for a makeup artist for your project, you can reach me at Deborah at DeborahRutherford.com. You can go to my IMDb and see the different projects I've worked on. I think that the strength of my resume is that I've done independence as well as big budget film and finding that ground to bring the experience back and forth. But for me personally, I want to work on stories that touch and transform hearts. I love a really good movie that has hope and redemption in it. And there's so many that don't these days. And I find often watching old films and things because I want to see that if someone's evil, that something bad happens to them, or if somebody's good, that something good happens to them. I want to see hope, redemption. And so it's just kind of really important for me to start seeing that. And, I've seen in one of the areas in a lot of films, the beards or the mustaches don't look right. Like, if you watch the old biblical movies that most of them are made like in Italy, like amazing, or in England, amazing craftsmen with those beards and wigs and everything. And so I do think that's definitely one area that we could get stronger in is that, because it has to do with telling the story. So, for example, you're the actress in my film and Jeff, you're the actor. And say we're in a time period. So say you both are pirates, right? But Jeff's wig looks like, a store-bought wig, and his mustache is not the right style. And then say your lipstick color is modern. What happens is it takes the person out of the story. So no matter how good your story is, no matter how good your acting is, they're wondering about your mustache. They're wondering about your lip color, And so I think that's just one area we definitely do better in. And it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. It just has to be done well.
I appreciate that you said that, because that fits in so many different aspects of filmmaking. Like, what you want to make sure that you don't do is get in your own way. You want to make sure that you are creating something that allows the audience to stay in the moment, to stay in the journey. And if you, like you say, whether it's makeup or it could be wardrobe or even dialogue, I have heard so many times where somebody says something, I'm like, that does not fit that generation. And so, it's that kind of thing where when it's done well, people are in the story. They're not thinking about that particular job or what was lacking. And so I appreciate that you said that. And it is so true. And I guess some people might overlook certain details, but I think that all of the details are important, whether it be makeup or dialogue or anything else that comes up, lighting, sound, like all of it. If every person is bringing their best and recognizing what the job is requiring of them, then we can create something that's incredible. So I really, I appreciate talking with you today, and I appreciate you sharing your story and all the insight that you've shared. I really hope that our listeners can glean from it. I know I learned some stuff. You probably can tell like where I'm green with some of my questions.
Oh, you did a great
I don't
job.
know. It's not my thing. No. Oh, thank you. But this is fantastic. I really enjoy learning from my own show because I get to ask questions that I might not get to ask otherwise. So thank you for your patience with me.
It was wonderful. Yeah. You brought out questions that brought out answers in me that I haven't really thought of, in a while. Yeah. So it's good.
Oh, fantastic.
We will also make sure we get your contact information and your website address in our show notes, because we'll certainly have directors and producers listening to the podcast who need makeup artists. And you've certainly got the experience to fill the role.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. It feels good also, not just feels good, but to be part of a project that the intent of the project is to bring glory to God.
Oh, gosh.
Like, how would you not want to be on that set, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Because on the Southern Gospel, like said, the crew, some people were Christian, some people weren't. But in one of the scenes, we have baptism, and the director is actually a pastor himself and, show people how to baptize. So you just had people probably never, ever seen somebody baptized. Yeah. And it was a gorgeous day out on a lake, and it was You just feel the Lord there is really special. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Where was it filmed?
It was filmed in Georgia. Yeah, in Atlanta. I mean, out around the area. It's actually out in an area called Covington, which is a little more farmlandy.
Southern Gospel, and we can find it on the streaming platforms?
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much for this interview, and I'm glad I got to spend some time getting to know you.
Nice to meet you, Deborah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for listening to the Faith and Family Filmmakers podcast. If you would like email reminders about newly released episodes and more, please sign up at faffpodcast.com/email. That's faffpodcast.com/email. Bringing filmmakers together for faith and family.
That's a wrap.